We're going live. Thanks, everyone. All right. I think this worked. Those of you that watched us prepare for this, it's going to go great. We're going to have a good time. Welcome, David Price. I'm one of the co-founders. Oh, Amy, I can hear you laughing in the background.
Oh,
I've got a laugh track. That's perfect. I've got a laugh track. Amy will be right back. We have something really fun to show you. Here's how we do our regular monthly meetups, the Redwood community. The first 30 minutes is going to be a lot of updates and show and tell. And the second 30 minutes, we stop the live stream recording and we invite everyone who's on Zoom right now to join us for breakout groups so we can hang out with the core team, have smaller group conversations. It turns out open source and building things is a lot about collaboration. And it helps to know people and have some relationships you want to collaborate. So you are welcome to stick around. You don't have to for some smaller group breakout time. And that'll be fun. At the end of the first 30 minutes, we have the RedwoodJS Conf is coming, if you don't know about it. And we have something cool we want to share with you. It's an invitation as well as an action item. I think you're going to really like it. So we'll do that at the end of the first 30 minutes. So stay tuned for that. For those on Zoom right now, I'm watching the chat as well. If you have questions as we go, chat away. Chat's great. I'm watching the chat. No one's chatted yet. Does the chat work? Did I take away chat permissions? Somebody chat quickly. Security, you can chat and you can rename yourself. Hey, thanks, DT. All right. First up is what is happening in the Redwood verse. And if I could find one of my many windows here, I want to share what's happened in the last month for Redwood releases. Dom is our release master and he is out this week. So normally he gets to, there we go, share because he should get all the glory for the very tedious hard work of making sure that releases are working all the time. So first up is we did get to 6.1. Maybe I should start there. That was 3 weeks ago. And this was primarily a quality of life. Behind the scenes, Redwood is upgrading a lot of NPM packages for you. So dependencies. And we put up with that so you don't have to, but there were a lot of dependencies that got upgraded in 6.1, a few changes, and I'll highlight a couple of things here. But if you ever want to see all the things that you don't have to mess with, oh, that's actually a short list. That's all the stuff we're doing for you behind the scenes. If you also, let's go over here, community. If you don't know what Redwood is up to right now, our current development epoch called Bighorn, the focus is on React and twofold, React streaming and server-side rendering. And also we are implementing React server components. Did you know you can follow along? Both of those are available right now. Mind blown. As experimental features, but you can try them both out. So React streaming and server-side rendering, Danny is lead on that project. And if you go to our forums, which is where I am, this is instructions for setting up the experimental feature right now in your Redwood application. Again, all experimental, changing a lot. Not everything works rough around the edges, but it's fun. You can try React streaming and server-side rendering. Additionally, you can try React server components right now. And Toby is lead on that project. And he gives you some instructions here on how to set it up in a new app. And then also what works and doesn't work. So that is our current epoch. Really exciting things happening live. And you can join in. There's a lot of other things in that experimental category in our forums you might want to check out. So back over here, that's where you'll notice we have a few features that are coming in. And that's in the change log. Patch releases, we're releasing patches a lot. You always want to upgrade the most recent patch and then ask us if we found a bug. We're releasing patches within about 48 hours once we find a bug. So keep a lookout for those. And then also just to highlight that 6.2 will be coming out. It was going to be today. We'll see how my day goes. But the goal is while Dom's on vacation to get 6.2 out and see if we can make Dom proud while he's away. But this is what's coming in 6.2. I think that is all to highlight in the releases. That was a quick whirlwind tour, but upgrade your Redwood app. It's fun. If you get to 6, you get Vite, and everybody loves Vite. At least that's what they say on the Twitters. Do we say Twitters anymore? What do we say? I don't know. Anyway, all right. I'm going to get David Tierson up here to show you something very cool, which is also an experimental slash pretty much beta going on stable feature soon. And DT, you should be able to start your video, and I just unmuted you. Will you show the fine Redwood community what they've won with real time? Let's see if we can get you
I
up here.
can. You need to enable screen sharing for me.
Yeah, got it. Okay, you should be able to start your video, and where is screen share? There you go. All right, come on up. Yeah.
Sorry, lots of buttons here.
Okay, DT, what am I looking at here?
Sorry.
Oh, that's all
Okay,
right.
there's lots of buttons. Okay, I can't find the buttons for the camera now. Okay.
Redwood real time.
Redwood real
What?
time. So yeah, exactly. So as the Redwood team and community knows, one of the questions we were most often asked during before V1 was, when will Redwood support a real-time solution? Meaning, when will Redwood support GraphQL subscriptions? That was pretty much the big question. And the answer is now. So real-time for Redwood.js is initially going to be for GraphQL. There's other ways of doing real-time, and that could be a topic that we talk about, David, and the community when we chat. But what we're supporting out of the box for this release are things called live queries and subscriptions.
DT, real
So
quick. People don't mind looking at me, but did you mean to start your video? Because I had it turned off, but it's okay.
I couldn't find the buttons for it once. Oh, there it is. Start video now. Okay, I can do it.
There you are. I see you.
Now we're there.
That is DT, everybody.
Now the button shows up. Great. So yeah, right. So we're supporting live queries and subscriptions, and they're they suit certain types of problems in real time. Subscriptions are better suited in some cases, and live queries are other, and we can discuss about that. But I think what we should jump into is just a demo first to see what it can do, and then we can talk about how it does it. We can look at code if we want. We can look at examples. It's up to you. I'm going to share in chat a live example. So now I have to find the button for chat in here.
Oh, I got that.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want me
chat
to?
that? You chat this one, the realtime.redwood.
Yeah, you bet. And do you want me to go through the chat? The chat slow.
Yeah, and why don't you jump into the chat as well?
Oh. Oh wait, because this is this is real time.
Because it's real time in real time.
All right.
So what we can do here now is this is a demo. We've got several demos in our real time. We've got a chat room demo, which uses subscriptions. We're going to use we have a demo of like a bidding on an auction using live queries, some kind of streaming resolving subscription, and some kind of really fun open AI demos to show that you can stream responses back. And you can see that all of a sudden David's sending a message to me, and I can say hi DP or fi DP because I can't type, from DT, and I'm going to send that to room. Oh, so you picked room 2 already, room 3. And you can see like we update all our chat rooms independently, and they're all coming through. And there's thanks Tom. And what's fun too is just to showcase that this is kind of streaming. Let's send 6 messages to some random rooms. You can see that it's going out there and it's sending messages, and everybody that's online is kind of seeing it. So what's happening under the covers is each of these columns, each of these rooms is a chat room component. And it's using the traditional GraphQL subscription, use subscription to subscribe to room 1, 2, 3, or 4. And then on the website, each room is subscribing to any messages that get published. So subscriptions is a pub sub type mechanism. I'm going to subscribe to a channel or topic ID, new messages for room 3. And anytime somebody does a mutation down here, like Tom in room 1, I'm now doing a mutation that says I'm mutating and I'm sending a message. And when that mutation happens, I'm saying, publish this message, hi Tom from DT, to the room one channel. And then each of the components that's subscribing to that particular channel ID gets the payload. And that's, in short, how kind of subscriptions work. It's a pub sub mechanism. One thing that's important to know about all real-time is that it requires a serverful connection. So when we talk about how to set up the various real-time, and if you look at this project code, you'll see that there's two currently experimental commands that sets up a server file. So we're running a Fastify server, GraphQL is embedded in the server, and the server can maintain connections. In production, this is done over HTTP2, so you can have lots and lots of connections. In dev, it's over HTTP1, and you're limited to a few, but it's great enough for dev. We've deployed on Fly for these examples. So we have a fully serverful deployment out on Fly, which is why you can have 12 connections up here running at the same time, and everyone else that's kind of been, yeah, I did not support emojis. I should have done that. Good call.
I was actually looking for the image upload, so I had a, some art.
Yeah.
No, this is awesome.
So that's the subscription, and we can kind of show, we can look at some code a little bit later.
Okay,
so
and then
that's a subscription.
Yeah, did you mention, just because I think this is fascinating too, out of the box, so you'll need, for the pub sub, you're using Redis. I'm not sure, I was clicking buttons and playing with this thing.
Right.
But that was, so this is deployed on Fly right now and using Redis, and I'm probably getting ahead of you here, but that was pretty trivial. Like, you guys got this thing set up and deployed yesterday in less than 30 minutes. I mean, or maybe it's just a Docker file on Fly.
Yeah, to be honest, the only thing we had to understand was how Fly gave us the various Redis IDs, and there was one little kind of quirk about using IP6 on that. Otherwise, it's been designed so you can swap in your various stores. So when you set up Redwood Realtime, you'll get a real-time config, and you, out of the box, you get to decide for subscriptions or live queries, what are the storage mechanisms that's going to be behind it. Effectively, you need to have, for subscriptions, you need to have a pub sub transport, and that pub sub transport needs to put something there that says, I'm publishing something to the queue. You subscribing something, not to the queue, to the store. I'm publishing and I'm subscribing to something. Live queries does it the same way because it needs to know, well, I'm listening to a query. What am I invalidating? And you have to keep track of that. This is one of the reasons that you need kind of a serverful connection, because it needs to maintain that connection to that, but not only to send information back. So out of the box, you get an in-memory store, which works in Fly because you've got a server. You've got a server, but of course, for production, Redis is better. And really, just to change the setup of this for production, you create your two Redis connections with any connection string you get from Upstash Redis or Fly uses Upstash, or any Redis client out there, and just change your store to this, this and that, and then it'll be happy. Well, it'll be happy if I define it, but so yes, so you do need those stores.
I mean, like, when I wanted to do real time in the past, I didn't want to do any of that stuff, right? Like, that was the hard thing, is all the infrastructure and just worrying about all of that. That looks really easy. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and this real time config will be plugged into we now register a GraphQL Yoga server plugin within the Fastify server file. So this may look familiar from your GraphQL handlers, your traditional logger, your SDL services, etc. And now real-time is added to that configuration, which then tells the GraphQL server how to. It does a number of things. It registers some plugins. It auto registers subscriptions, does all the work for you. So your API side is back. When you set up real time, you'll get a whole API with some examples of the back end for the chat room and the this speaker bidding little app. So this is a live query. So live queries are not standard in the GraphQL spec. They're created by somebody at the guild, and it's effectively, if you think of a subscription as I'm subscribing to a topic, chat room 3, chat room 4, anything that says I've posted a new message to that thing and I'm listening to that topic, I'll get whatever payloads back. A live query says I'm querying my auction. Auction 1 is for Converse All-Stars. Anytime something happens and causing the data on auction to change, I'm going to invalidate the auction. And because my query is listening to anything that's on auction 1, when I bid, it's going to receive it's going to say, hey, my auction changed, requery the query that I'm doing. It's a live query. So a live query will look like here. So a live query looks like any other query you've ever made in Redwood, in a cell, or just anything that uses, use query from Apollo. But it uses the live directive, and the live directive is called a query directive. So this exists on your website. It's not like a directive like use off, like the use require auth or skip off. This lives within your website. So this says effectively, I'm listening to auction 1. I'm going to return the amount, the highest bid, title. And then eventually I'm going to have a mutation that says I'm going to bid $10 on auction 1. And the service that does the mutation says, okay, I received a bid. I need to invalidate the state of auction 1. And because I've been listening to it live, refetch this information. So I bid something on it, and what happened? Okay, bid something on it. There it goes. It's my most clicked. Or we can say we can simulate bids. Okay, auction. Let's go to auction 3, and we'll do 3 bids on auction 3. And you can see now my little bids are being sent that way, and it's being received as that. So each time a bid happens to auction, it sees, okay, I bid something, I'm invalidating auction 3, refetch the query, and I've got my updated data.
What,
so
DT?
Go
ahead. I'll ask questions after.
Yeah, so the big question we get asked is like, how do you, what's the difference and how do you choose? So I wrote some things in the README saying like, what's the difference between, a subscription, like I'm subscribing to a message versus I want to know when the data changed. And I've got a little diagram here that says, okay, how do I decide between subscription live queries? What do I do with real time? Sometimes you don't even want real time, right? You just say like near real time is fine. Like if your data can be 10 seconds old or 30 seconds old, you can just use GraphQL polling. Every 30 seconds, fetch new data. That's fine. But if you need a much quicker kind of things, then in a serverless way, because you don't have that in-memory thing, or in the or the connection, you could use some other mechanism. There's a lot of third-party solutions. You choose one, but then you do live queries, and it's really about how do you determine the value of your information and things like that.
DT, that was going to be my question. What's going to be the trade-off between live query and polling? I'm guessing there's a performance gain with live query for the end user, but probably a performance cost on your infra.
So I mean, this is really why I built these demo apps. And I think it's why it'd be useful for anybody to pull down this demo app and take a look at it and get a feel for what it is, because they both solve the same problem. I think it's more about how you think about your information flow. like, let's say, and it's how and how you want to protect the information. So, like, if for an auction you make a bid, um, you don't want to say, "Oh, I made a bid, and now I want to subscribe to like any new bids." Like, you don't want to say, "Okay, just subscribe straight to the new bid." It's more about, uh, how do I put this? Um, like, for a live query for the I, I
It's all
didn't
right.
prepare for that particular question, but the easiest way to understand and is to get a feel is to try the app, run the app, and just think about where the information is changing and how you want to kind of to distribute it. Um, the live query is very simple, but it also could be you're refetching the complete object. So, like, so for an auction, you say I bid it, and I'm gonna receive this entire whole auction again. Whereas a chat message, I'm sending a message, whatever, and um, I'm not listening to the room being invalidated, because that's kind of a strange concept. I'm more saying, has something been published to the room?
Got it. Okay.
It's it it makes sense when you start working with it, but it's really what works best for you. Um, and again, live queries is something that was created by people at the guild. It's not standard GraphQL spec, so use subscription, is supported by your GraphQL clients and everything like that. So it's more standardized, but it
Got it.
has its it has its pros and cons.
Would someone post a link to live queries? I know the guild's written at least one blog article on that, but post that up in the chat, and then
Yeah,
I'll
I
let you keep
should. I
going.
can. I
You've
should
got
do
a few
that
more
too.
demos here.
Yeah,
When I
so
let you get to
materials.
those.
We just have there's another quick demo here about like being able to, subscriptions can resolve themselves. So instead of like publishing, doing subscribe and publish, you can subscribe, and then as it kind of streams out and does like iterates over kind of and yields the response, you can do it in real time. But here's the fun ones. These are the ones that we wanted to get to. We all know that everybody loves AI. So
I've got a new favorite
built.
movie mashup. This is awesome.
Okay, so I have to do my favorite. So this is my
All
movie
right.
mashup. Like, I'm bored of all my Netflix, and I want to go revisit the 80s and 90s and have great movies. Like, my favorite is still this one. I'm never going to get tired of this one. So what we're doing here is we're using a live query that says, okay, I'm now listening to. I've in the background. I've created this kind of. Oh, it's different today. Good. See, it is AI. I've created this ephemeral mashup, and I'm listening to say, "Hey, as I query as I ask ChatGPT to create a mashup between these two movies, Highlander and Pretty in Pink, I get the immortal prom queen." See, I like the one where it says there can only be one prom queen. But we
That
didn't get that
was
one today.
that one
This
was
is the best
awesome.
one. I like Finding Nemo and Die Hard is good because John McClane needs to go swimming. Finding Die Hard when Judy calls, even fish, my thing is blocked. I can't see what it says.
Even fish
Oh,
have
come
to
on back.
fight. Oh, I could read it. You switched your workspace. I now see your desktop.
Yeah,
Oh, there
I
you go.
know. These buttons are
You want me
too
to?
close.
I can.
We'll
You
do
want me to
that.
read it?
We'll do that edit. Uh, you could, yeah, you feel free to read.
Oh,
In
finding
a
Die
world
Hard.
where,
When duty calls, even
yeah,
fish have to fight.
exactly.
uh, in a
And of
world where
course,
underwater terrorists threaten the peace of the ocean. All right, yeah, keep going.
yeah, we can cover I like RoboCop, and I'm always a sucker for Smoking the Bandit. Robo Bandit, one cop, one bandit, and a whole lot of trouble in a dystopian future when crime runs rampant. A reluctant cyborg police officer knows RoboCop seems a little spooky. So that's kind of fun. So again, these in the Chat GPT world, we've always had a case where how do I remember slots? Because we see this kind of demo, right, and it takes Star Wars 60 candles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's like a 10-second response. So unless you were streaming or the response, you'd be sitting here for 10, 11 seconds for ChatGPT to construct the whole response and you can be back. Now what we're doing is we're saying, I'm going to listen to any updates where this mashup ID has updates. And as ChatGPT returns the response, we kind of stream the content in real time.
Yeah, and so this is a really
all comes together.
For anyone that's tried to use the OpenAI API, they are discovering that you can have really long response times, and your request can time out, and then you actually don't get the payload from the API. So this seems like a really ideal application for like this. The Redwood Realtime is an ideal application for using these AI APIs. Yes, I haven't done it myself, but that's the feedback I'm seeing.
So now we're gonna, my next one is we're using a similar pattern. We're gonna do a story about the simple yellow fox.
Oh, you know what, DT? We're seeing close the panel on the left.
Oh, I wanted to show that for a second. Okay. Seeing
okay.
the simple yellow.
I see what you mean.
I always like penguins. I don't think penguins. Simple yellow penguin who falls in love. That's always a good story. So I'll show you here. So now as we're going through, you can see kind of demos as coming through. It's sending all the data over a subscription. So this is similar to what we did before, but really what we're doing here is as the story is written, we keep getting a delta of the content, and we're just publishing. The simplest way is to just concatenate the story, and then we keep publishing. So this is why on here we kind of see that if it went so fast, it kind of built fast. We're building up the story about the simple story about a yellow penguin who falls in love, named Sunny, who lived in Antarctica. Sunny spotted a beautiful purple starship named Rosie. In the moments their eyes met, Sunny's heart skipped a beat. Oh, yeah, that's a good story.
I'm doing this with my kids tonight. This is really great. I should have called that earlier. You can open that panel on any of your demos, right? You can open the side panel and it'll show you, correct? Okay.
Happy story about the green penguin who was shopping for new shoes. Peppermint. The penguin named Peppermint.
This is really amazing.
Green as a leaf. So this is kind of a cute little thing. So that's kind of the overall demos of things. Try it out. You can go to this repo, which is the streaming repo, and this is the real-time link. And if you want to try out the bedtime story, the silly sky blue ladybug who flies a kite. A ladybug named Sky Blue, who's known for a playful nature and a love for flying kites. So
this is amazing, DT.
Kind of have fun.
Yeah, exceptional work. Would you post in the chat the link to the repo? And this is really good work. I can't wait to see what people build with Redwood Realtime. It's going to be awesome. And deployment, again, we're that's on Fly, but we'll anywhere Redis can be found, and you can run Fastify server. You can run Realtime, but Fly's been working really well.
And as an example of that, you'll see that there's a Fly branch in here that kind of explores a little bit of that. So there's a Fly toggle and everything else in around here to how would you deploy that to Fly. We don't have any instructions right now for that, but there is a demo repo of that to do that. Otherwise, Fantastic. You can enjoy that in your dev server.
Fantastic. That's awesome. DT, amazing work. Thank you for showing that off. There's a lot more demos of that to come. Really fun. Amy, were you going to join us now? And I didn't know if Josh was going to come up. Okay. Are you able to start your video?
Oh, I can.
You can. Yeah, very nice.
Camera.
You have more cameras? Oh yeah,
Now this one.
that's good. Amy, welcome back. Um,
Thanks.
Everybody, we're going long. It's going to be worth it. So I don't know if you need Josh. You take over. I don't know if you did Josh or not. And then
Yeah,
we're going to
bring
show us.
Josh on.
All right.
Yep, I can unmute him. And I can also share my video.
Josh. Hey, you two.
This is
Good to see you.
so worth it, by the way. This was exciting for me. So we're doing a conference. Did you know this? At the end of the month that we're doing the RedwoodJS conference in Grants Pass. So please check it out. If you have not already registered or got your tickets, now is the time. So if you go to RedwoodJSConf.com, you can find out more information there. One of the things that we created to help promote the conference is this custom badge application. So this is a project that I've been working on the last month, which I think is really just a great story and a great thing for Redwood. The fact that I was able to build this within a month and just the complexity behind it. Redwood made it really easy. But one of the things that you can do, so if you go to ticket.redwoodjs.com, you can see the app there. And then I also have a few different links here. So one of the things that it lets us do is on the back end, we can generate links to share out on the fly. So for example, this is Tom's page. We have links created for all of our partners that they can share out. So this is Prisma and things like that. So this makes it really easy. And this is really fun too. You can drag and drop the badge. But once you actually share it, and we'll kind of walk through the flow. So right now I'm just trying to give context for the piece that you'll see. But like if I were to share out my custom link, it's going to add my name to say, hey, I know that you registered with RedwoodJS as your special partner. So me, Amy, and Redwood would like to invite you. So pretty cool stuff. Now, the fun part for me is that once you submit your email address, so if I say Amy Haywood plus test, and I'm going to enter a random number at gmail.com, and I say, yes, please, I'm going to get an email. And it says that I've now been received that email, and then I can customize this ticket. So I have already authorized GitHub. So if you were to do this for the first time, you would see that standard, like, are you sure you want to give GitHub access, blah, blah, blah. So you would click that because I've already authorized it. Then it takes me to this page where I can share on Twitter. I can download the image. I can download a ICS file to add that to my calendar, or I can get my share link here. And there's also some fun stuff happening too, where if it realizes that you have already created your ticket, it will bring you back to this page and redirect you. Now, the fun part for me that Josh was a huge help on was the email piece. And we are working with one of our partners, Resend. And the cool part is we have Redwood Studio, which if you haven't looked at that, this is an experimental feature of Redwood that you can run. And it gives you all kinds of stats about your application that you're running. But there's also a mail component. So I'm going to hand it over to Josh and I'll keep clicking, but let him kind of talk through the mail code.
This looks pretty. All of it looks pretty so far. So Studio also got a UI upgrade, I see.
Yeah. So with the kind of introduction of the kind of mailer to Redwood, like as a first class citizen, my goal was to also add it into Studio so that you've got the companion there at the same time as you're getting your kind of feature in. So like Amy said, when she was just running Yarn Redwood Dev and she sent her email, you can see that it's being kind of intercepted. It's not getting sent to a real Gmail anywhere. And you can see these examples here. So if Amy clicks on one of them, I think you can see it gets rendered here. You can see how it looks. And this is a kind of rough render. It won't look exactly like it will in Gmail, but it's good enough for you to get started. And then there's all sorts of things you can see, like if it came through as a text version instead, all these links are clickable.
Yep.
You can see the raw HTML if you've got some sort of issue.
It also shows you the attachment, which I think is like awesome.
Yep, you can click it right there as well. Just download it straight away. Yep, and then there's all sorts of things if you go and dig into it.
Okay, so wait, local dev. Now, are you guys going to show us how to go? So there's code side of this too, like the mailer has code. I don't know if you're going to go there, but so I'm local dev. I'm running Redwood Studio, and I have all of that information at dev time as I try to debug and create emails. That's what's happening here?
Yep. So if we talk about the code slightly, so there's the just like you have like your db.ts and their lib, you have the mailer.ts, and there's just one export here. You expect export const mailer, and this mailer is just a class that we have from a Redwood package, and it defines a few things. So it's like, how are you going to render your components that you write in React, or you could write them in any flavor really, but how are you going to do that? So this example uses the React email components. So that's something that kind of resend push as well, I think. But you can see here, you just write it, typically like you would a React component. You can do a thing here. And all of this is slightly different because emails are a whole world of their own in terms of how they get shown and how they get rendered. I think emails say like it was fairly easy to write this, I think, wasn't it?
I just want to point that out for someone that has painfully written tons and tons of HTML emails. This was the easiest HTML email to write. And the fact that I can include Tailwind styles directly within my code just made that process so much easier. And the other thing I will point out, I don't know if you noticed when we were looking at this email, is you can also send in variables. So I have my unique invite code here, and that's just getting referenced down here where I have a base URL that I set an environmental variable, and then I'm sharing that link. So this is the one where I'm passing in my participant ID, which is pretty cool.
Fantastic. Yeah. So again, my setup is, so locally, Redwood is providing API config templating. Resend is a third-party service that's doing the email send, right? So that's the SMTP, right? And then locally, Studio is acting like a proxy for resend. And so I can see the render, I can see what's going to show up in someone's inbox, and I get all the data around it locally in Redwood Studio. Those are the three parts, correct? And it doesn't have to be resend.
That's right.
This could work with anything.
Yeah, so if we look at the handlers option of this mailer, so there's three here. There's test, dev, and prod. You could have called them whatever you wanted, but you can see so in test, I've said there's a new in-memory mail handler, so that all that I was going to save to some memory. Dev is going to Studio, so that's how it ends up being sent to your Studio locally. And then in production, you've got node mailer, just sending it to some, whatever address you've set in your environment variables. And then a little further down, there's options here where when am I in development? Well, when I'm not in production, when my node is not production. And then when am I in test? So behind the scenes, whenever you go to send email, we'll check to make sure, is this condition, are you in development? Well, we'll send it to development one. If you're in testing, we'll send it to testing one. There's no way you can, accidentally send your real users all your test emails and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I also want to point out this terminal window down here is running Yarn Redwood Dev, and this is running Studio. So you have to have Studio running when you try and trigger that email. And then I did want to point out one more feature within Studio that's, again, just mind-blowing. So there's also a template, a tag or navigation item where I can come in, I can set multiple templates here. So this ticket email automatically gets picked up from this folder here where I have mail, ticket, email. And I can click on this and I can preview. You can see the props that are getting passed in that are dynamic, but I can also preview this email directly in here before I even send it, which, I mean, again, is just beautiful.
And that should update live. If Amy goes in and changes hey to hello or something like that, in the code, just saves it and then goes back to this window. It should just re-render or just make any change basically.
Wow.
It should just kind of be live-ish.
There it goes.
There we go.
Hello. Yeah. Beautiful.
So if you're going through some sort of function you want to, say you're setting up your invoices or something like that, and you think, oh, I need to send emails, but I don't want to start going away to Amazon and setting up my account and all this blah blah blah. You can just start with this, nothing's being sent to remote. I can just write my email, stub it out, spend as much time as I want in the preview, and then actually get on to sending it later on.
Okay, so we got real-time and mailer. Last questions on mailer. We are over time, but this is gold. I can't overstate how awesome these features are, especially back to back. Now, I want to use mailer today. What's maybe I'll answer the state of that. Mailer will be available. Let's call it a preview feature in 6.2. We're not going to advertise that across all of our, like, we're not going to hype it yet because preview feature means it could be breaking still. So between 6.2 to 6.3, the API for Mailer might change. And we just want people to have a heads up that that's the case, but you could use it. It's actually in Canary, right? And it's in the RC right now. People could use it. Where would they go? Are there docs coming with 6.2, Josh?
There should be some. I don't know how official the docs will be for 6.2, but there are, like, my PR had like links to an example repo. There was a little 30-minute video where I rambled on how to set this all up from scratch and things like that. So we can link to some of those for sure.
Yeah, why don't you do that in chat for now, and then we'll like ask us if anywhere. I don't think this was posted in the forums yet in the experimental, was it, the Mailer? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll make sure it's posted somewhere so that you can take it for a spin. But the PR is a good place to go right now for reference, and Josh will post that. That's great. Well, I wanted to do. I wanted to bring Tom up and have him actually fill out his free ticket for the event. Should we do that? And also, Tom,
yeah, let's do it.
Tom, if you're there, Tom, why should people come to the Redwood conference? Live stream for sure. You've got to come join the live stream. But Tom, tell us why we should come to the conference. Tom, press on everyone.
Why? Oh, yes. All right.
How are those demos, by the way?
Those are amazing. I love that. That's so great. I love that mailing stuff and the ticket site, which also uses SSR. If I'm not mistaken.
How could we forget to talk about that?
Highlight that, and then and it's that, which is kind of what the conference is about too, right?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So let me. I guess. Do you want me to talk about that real quick? Hold on. Let me share my screen and I'll
over to you.
Show you. Okay, so let's do this. Let me just change that a little bit. Okay. Right, so conference. Yes, this is the ticket site for the conference. If you go to, let's see, view source on this, then you'll see some JavaScript, but you'll also see, check this out. This is the full this is actually hard to see. Hold on, let me do it another way. I'll be quick, don't worry. Inspect, network, refresh, ticket, response. Here we go. Here is look at all this HTML. What is in this response, right?
We don't do HTML anymore.
This is not just the little React placeholder, right? This is the actual code for this page, right? Delivered on the initial page load, which Redwood has never ever been able to do before until today. And this is probably the first production deploy of this technology of all time. So yeah, we've been hard at work on streaming and SSR, which we're solving via React Server components. So this is now running the latest experimental version with the SSR support, so that we can do OG tags, the unfurling on Twitter and such. That's the main reason that we're doing it on this site, so that when you paste a link to your ticket on Twitter /X/ whatever we call now, or Facebook or wherever, LinkedIn, then it'll pull the OG information, the Open Graph information, and it will display it. So that's huge.
Amazing.
This is what the next epoch is all about, right? This is what we've been striving for, and now it exists, and you can play with it. So go download that and play with it. So at the conference, we will be talking about this and much, much more. My keynote will be covering exactly how you can use this stuff and what's changed in Redwood. And we'll have many great talks about design and marketing and sales and things in and around building your own web applications, not just the code of it, not just Redwood, but things in and around it. We'll hear from Apollo and Prisma and some AI, stuff about AI. Fixie AI is going to give a talk about how to use LLMs via React components that they've created to use LLMs in your Redwood application. And all kinds of amazing stuff. So go to RedwoodJS Conf.
As of yesterday, Matt from the React team is going to be doing a fireside chat with us. So it's going to be a great cast of characters. Is that what they say? It's going to be really fun. Great content, really fun.
We hope to see you there. The early bird pricing is going to expire soon, so now is your chance to get in there. The conference is at the end of the month, 20 days. So now is the time to pull the trigger and make it happen. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to spend time with everyone that comes to the conference. It's going to be a more intimate group than a giant conference, right? And so we'll have time to actually get to know each other, which is the whole point. To me, that's the value of a conference. So that's what we're trying to curate for that event. So should I register for this from scratch?
Yeah. Have you done it yet?
Email address? Can I do it again? No, I haven't.
All right, do it. Yeah. So we're sharing this link. Actually, Tom, generate your own link to share with folks. That's what you're doing right now. So
okay, well, I'm going to do that, and then I can do this, right? And then I'll do this, and it's probably going to make me do 2-factor. Okay, authorize. Yeah, don't do that. Okay, so now I can copy the share URL, or can I show it? Is it?
Yeah.
What should I do?
Share on.
Yeah, you can share the URL. There you go.
You want me to share this on Twitter? Okay.
I think that's just I need to swap that out so you have your unique URL. That's just the regular conference link right there.
It's supposed to link to.
Yeah, pull it up.
Swap that out.
What's it supposed to link to? This URL?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you should have that URL in your clipboard history
this URL.
too. Yep.
This URL should be here. Is that what we're saying?
Yep. And this is fancy too. If you if I were to pull up that invite/27, it would know that I'm not you, and it would show me something different. It would prompt me to register versus for you, it's showing you to share because it recognizes that as you. Yep.
Do the OG tags work yet? Because it's not pulling
the text OG. Does, the images do not. So this was a fun feature that I'm working on with Cloudinary is it will take your unique badge image and share that out as part of your OG tags.
Okay,
so that should
I'm gonna wait to do it until
perfect.
That's ready. But this is how I would do it.
Perfect.
So if you want to use mine, I'm number 27. Invite 27.
So I'll show you. So Tom, go to 10.
Put it in.
Go back over and so people can see. So here's what it'll look like when you share it. Yeah, go to invite 10.
Oh no, I'm pretty sure it's gonna redirect him because it'll recognize he's already
because he's got cookies.
Yeah. So if you have a different browser.
Yeah. Well, let me open the incognito and share that.
Yeah. So you get to share out your little badge link. Oh yeah, there you go. So that's
then it would look like this, right? Maybe we can wrap that.
Yeah, we can wrap that.
Pull this out of the way.
No big deal.
Yeah. It's okay because I can move this.
Yeah.
Okay. No, this is awesome. This is great. I love
Looks great on mobile, and it's really snappy. So this is also deployed on Fly. Some fun things that are happening here. We've got Resend deployed on Fly, and we're using Neon database for this. So this is a fully modern app, as they say, with SSR, which that's what we did in the aughts, right? We did a whole lot of SSR.
Oh yeah, back to the.
We're back to the. All right, this is amazing. We'll share those links out. We would love to see everyone come to the conference. Please at least use that link at a minimum. Use it to register for the live stream for free. The live stream and all the prices are going up, I believe, as of Tuesday next week. So register now or use that link for a free live stream. And we hope you can join us. And man, if there's something in the way, shoot me a DM. I'd love to see if we could help you get to the conference because we really like to have you there. It's going to be great. All right. I'm going to stop the live stream. Anything else before I do? That was awesome.
This is all amazing. I love this. This is so great.
All right. Live stream is ending and we have 8 minutes left.